Hello, my darlings. This is Faith from Faith and Grits, and we have Penelope all bound into her new home. She's all stitched and bound in, so she's looking like a lovely size at the moment. There is still room to grow in here. So she's, as you can see here, she's all stitched in, everything all filled up, and I've filmed now the process of the binding. So I hope you do stick around and join me on the journey of binding her together. So keep watching. Right, here we are with Penelope, and she is stuffed. Like I said, last week in Craft Club, I sat and worked on some of the tags. So all the tucks and pockets have something in them now that's been cut to size and backed. So before I go any further, she needs binding. So before she can be bound, she's got to be emptied. So just to share a little bit of the process of how I do that. So I've got 3 signatures. So I take one signature at a time, remembering which one I'm on. And I tend to take everything out of the signature from the back first. So, and put it down in a pile in a particular order so that when I go to fill the journal back up, I don't have to stop and think about what goes where. So if I'm doing it from the reverse, then when I go to fill it from the front, it tends to make sense. Or at least I hope it will make sense with the way I've done this, like a flip-flap. It should do. So everything gets taken out, even the small ones of the signature, and kept in one pile per signature. And I've been doing it that way for a while, and it's just a way that in my head I can keep it straight of what lives where. Sorry, I'm a little bit off camera here. And as you can see, once everything is removed, that gets put away on a surface behind me as signature 1. And that signature now is back to its itty-bitty self. So I'm going to crack on, take everything out of Penelope ready for binding, and I'll jump back on in a moment. Right, and ready for binding. Now, this way of binding a book puzzled me for the longest time. I'd watched different videos, and I'm thinking, I don't understand this. This is the way I've sort of worked it out. So I got my cover here for Penelope, and as before I showed, I put the 2 side panels on. This is naked in the center, because this will cover the space. But so for now, she can go away. These are my 3 base signatures here that I've done. Let's put those just out of the way a moment as well. So I've got something to stab into, an old book, fodder book. I've got a template for my spine. I've got a second piece of the cardboard box that I made the cover out of, cut to the dimensions of that inner spine, and then that's the piece to go over. So the first thing I need to do is poke the holes through my template onto that piece. And I don't glue it or anything, but before I do anything, pardon me, I always mark top. So like on my template, I've got tuck for top and an arrow pointing up. And then on here, I want T for top and an arrow pointing up. So I always know, even if my template is a little bit skew-if, it'll still work if you mark which way's up. So there's that. So I'm going to mark this. I've sanded the back of the cardboard on here with just a bit of sandpaper. I find it helps with glue, especially if you've got a bit of a sheen on your cardboard. Do pardon me. This cold is finally shifting a bit, I think. I've had it since Christmas. So I'm going to clip these on with some sewing clips. And I use what I call my fodder books that I just use for ripping up, and use those for stabbing. So, now some people use an awl. I find quilling needles used for quilling, far better for doing this, because they don't get fatter as they go up. They're quite thin. So like if you look at that one, it's very, very thin all the way through. And that one is only slightly bigger, but still very thin. Whereas an awl can be quite a bit bigger. So quilling needles I use to do most of my punching. So I've already measured this out, middle, top, bottom. And when I made my template, I double checked that top and that bottom against the flip flap of those, the way I assembled the signatures. So I know they're going to go in. So jab my holes in. And there we go. In the middle. And I don't tend to get rid of this template. Some of the books that I have sold locally, I sort of leave the template with a little note written on it as a little bit of an Easter egg inside. Sometimes I leave a little bit of provenance on the back of the piece of paper I stick in there, like, you know, this book was born from this piece of paper and a cereal box. And just a bit of fun, really. That it's not a standard journal made in a factory. It's something a bit more special. So there. That's punched through. And take my template off. I don't get rid of this. I save it. Go back in. Give those holes a wiggle. Especially on this inner spine. And especially on... You don't have to do the top and the bottom, but if you do the center ones, it will make your life a bit easier. Pardon me. Because the center ones are where you're doubling back when you're going back with your binding threads. So that's that. Stabbing book out of the way. Now I need to attach this to the very, very center of this piece of fabric. So that's going to be showing on that side, inside the journal. So let's stay on camera, but still manage to square it up on my mat here. Because it's not perfectly square, but I want to be, so that is 6 inches. Oops. 6 inches wide. So I want that piece to go down there to be in the center. Yes. So my arch enemy, sorry. 3-in-1. Honestly, best damn glue ever. I have had an absolutely love-hate relationship with this stuff. I love the glue. I absolutely hate the bottle. I can see it oozing now. Or is that just old? Yeah, that's just old glue. So I've bought another bottle. I'm going to be like kid gloves, very gentle with the nozzle on it. And we'll see how we get on. So I don't want that fabric to move. So where's my weight? My weight on that side. And something else. Scissors on the other side. Yes. I could do with another one of those. And get some peek in now. If it cooperates. Come on. Onto here. Honestly, absolutely super craft glue to use. It's a bit stinky. I wouldn't want to be using it all the time without like proper ventilation, but very, very good craft glue for things like this. But oh my word. Right, now I've been gentle with the nozzle, not been too rough. Stick a baby wipe on there, keep it damp a moment, and I want this down bang on the middle, which is there. I can't really stand up to look because it'll put my head in between what I'm doing in the camera. There we go. There. So that's on. Let's give this a moment and get the cap on Beacon. And don't over tighten the cap, because I suspect that what might have been the issue with the other bottle, but I'm not sure. But I know I'm not the only one that has issues with this bottle. I posted on Rachel Bella's group a while back when the cap just completely failed on me, catastrophically failed on me one day. I was like, am I the only one that has this? And no, I'm not, because other people have as well. So here we go. And it does dry. Does it come off a little bit? A little bit of see-through the fabric, but that's okay. With my stenciling and stuff. You'll never know it's there. There we go. So, with my stabbing book again then, I need to get those holes that I made through the fabric. And again, I'm going to use just a quick poke with a quilling tool. And so yeah, these are going to be in your craft stores where your sewing supplies are. And it's not going to be in the hardware section where you find it all. But if your craft store has anything for quilling, they'll be in that section. So give it a bit of a wiggle through the fabric. It's just so I can see the fabric. And if it's a busy, busy fabric, I have gone back before with a Sharpie and just colored the fabric with a dot. So just so I know, I can see where it is. I might do that one on this one actually, just to show you. Because you're not going to see it once it's bound. But it makes the binding process a bit easier when you've got a pattern on your fabric, if you could see where the hole is. So I can see all those now. I don't know if you can see them on camera, but I can see them from my angle with the lights I've got. So let me show you what I mean. Let me find a brown one. There's a brown one there. So just take a Sharpie and pop. Yes, you're not going to see that once the journal is bound. But doing this for your own sanity, honestly, is worth it. It doesn't have to be a fat tip Sharpie. It could be a fine tip Sharpie. It's just so that you know where the hole is. So, right, next, get my signatures back out. And I'm just binding these now into here. So I'll do the first one to show you. And I need my template back. And I use all sorts of clips. Now for these, I need to make sure that we are lined up, because I've done it that flip-floppy way, that I'm actually lined up square. So I have giant paper clips that I use. I have the sewing clips that I use. And then if I've got something really chunky, I got these that I use. So that's squared up. So in my center, this is my first signature. So on my template, I'm going to fold it up to the first line. because I know where my top is. Yes, pop that in there. Sort of, this is a really difficult, I get it now. When I was watching videos way back in the early days, I'm thinking I don't understand what they're doing. And it's because it's a difficult thing to film, because you're working at such wacky angles, trying to keep things straight. Is that straight? Close enough. So I've just popped my template in there so that it's right up against that first marking. And then with my staving book, go in and on camera, or try anyway, go back in with the tip of my quilling tool, drag it along to feel, you can feel where the hole is then, and then through, not far, just a bit, and the third one there in. Now, without losing tension on the pages, I want to remove my template. I'm going to stick some of these clips back on though. Take my template out. Yes. Go back with my quilling tool and go back through those holes to give them a wiggle. Yes. Especially that center hole. That center hole needs a bit of a wiggle. The other two, not so much, because you're only going to be going through those once. But that middle hole, you're going to be going through more than once. So, pop that down. It's not going to move. It's clipped. Put my staving book somewhere. Honestly, I'm running out of room here. Needle, thread. I do 3, 1, 2, 3 for the height, and this is wax thread. You can use embroidery floss. Embroidery floss is just, I used embroidery floss in the beginning. Embroidery thread, sorry. I can't remember in the States if it's called floss or thread. Over here they call it floss. My needle. Embroidery thread works, but it's a bit trickier to do, because you can very easily put your needle through the thread, and it causes issues when you go to knot it. Wax thread, you can still go through it, but it's easier to work with, put it that way. So I make sure the signature is facing the right way up, into the center, make sure that is the right way up, so top is top, top is top, through that middle hole and out, and back through the top and the top, don't lose the ends. And at the end, I have sewn signatures in upside down many times. And it's not the end of the world. You just snip the thread and sew it in again. It's just one of those, you know, smack yourself in the forehead moments, isn't it? So back through the bottom hole there, and then you've got to go back through the center without splitting the thread. And back through the center here. Now I find it useful to try to get my fingers in there and hold that back. It's really difficult. It took me a long time to work this process out. Lots of trial and error when I started out. There we go. So get it through and make sure that one is on one side, one's on the other, and this is in the middle. give a little pull, a little pull. If you hit resistance at this stage, it probably means you've gone through the thread. So give it a fiddle. It is recoverable if you've gone through the thread. If it's not recoverable, you just gotta cut, you just gotta pull the thread out and start again. So I know that's not gone through itself. I'm gonna give it a tug. Check the back to make sure it's taut. And also check that you haven't accidentally looped your thread around one of your pegs. Because that's happened to me before as well. I thought, oh, it's nice and tight now, and I've knotted it, and half the thread has been looped around a peg. And I thought, oh my word. Oh, right, 3 knots I do. So, in, die, treat, in Welsh, 1, 2, 3. And I tend to tie them in a bow or leave them dangling. I don't, if I'm going to sell the book on, you're giving the future creator an opportunity to attach more things. I've added jewelry and things before, or just left them, or other times I've gone back and just knotted them and cut them off. I don't tend to make that decision until later on. So that's the first signature in. Done. Nice and taut there. Now, if you don't want that on the inside, you do it in the reverse, so your knot is secured there. So that would be the only thing seen on the inside of the journal. So, but for this one, I'm going to leave it because I might add some jewelry charms. I'm not really sure yet. I'm not at that stage yet. So, take the clips off. Yes, and paper clips come off. Now that piece, that signature, I tend to put something on to keep it out of my way. Because that now needs to be out of my way to do the next 2. So I'm going to finish the next 2 off camera, and then I'll pop back on. Right, and my 3 signatures now are bound onto that central sort of second spine. I've left the clips on them because it'll make the next bit a bit easier if they're not all flopping all over the place. So the next bit I do is these are the last bits, these edges and the fabric to get stuck down. So those need to get put out of the way, so to speak. So I'm going to put a few extra clips on here. Be careful as well. If you end up with these giant paper clips, be careful sliding them on and off of things, because the metal tips on them can get caught and can cause damage. So just be a bit gentle. Don't be too rough sliding them on, because it has happened to me in the past. Because some are a little, they're cheapy. They're a pack of cheap ones from Amazon, and the ends are still exposed metal. They're not actually finished on the edge. So yeah, they do the job, lovely. Just be a bit conscious when you're sliding them on that they're not catching on anything. There we go. Because like you can see if it'll focus here a minute. Can you see? The end of that paper clip is just a piece of bare metal sticking out. So yeah, they do the job fine. Just be mindful of it, I suppose. Right. Top is that way. That's the front. So now I need to get Penelope out. Oh, that was the other thing. Once you've got all of that secured, stick something. I'm not going to use a paper clip. I'll use a couple of those. I'm going to stick these on there. I'm not going to leave these on for very long, because if you leave them on for too long, they can leave little indentations in the paper, but just for a moment so it stands up. So with Penelope, I've got that pole brad that I've put on there. So before I can glue this down, that's going to give me a bit of resistance. So what I found works well is a towel. So bear with me a minute. I'm going to have to stand up to do this. And I got a very squeaky chair. So I get my mixed media towel out and fold it up. And I put this down on the towel. And I find that helps give me the resistance I need to get it glued without that pole brad that I've put in there interfering. So next is just get glue now all over here and get it lined up and centered on here. Let's get Beacon back out again. I'm going to have to come up with like a proper arch enemy name for Beacon. My art is arty. My glue gun is Glutilda. Me and her are arch friends at the moment. Not after Christmas anyway. I had a project at Christmas and me and her are friends. But no, lots. Am I on camera? I can't look at what I'm doing and look at the camera at the same time. Oh, the joys. There we go. It's all a learning experience anyway, isn't it? So get some glue onto those threads. And until I can get the cap back on Beacon here, I'm going to put my baby wipe just on top. So I'm not going to get any clogs. So stand up again and get this lined up with the spine. And Beacon, you do get a tiny bit of wiggle with Beacon. Not like Art, who just says hello and grabs it straight away. Not long with Beacon, but you do get that itty bitty space of time, like doing something like this. So yes, I'm squared up on both sides. So now, with the help of those clips in there, I'm just going to give this a little bit of a smush down into the towel. Yeah, get these off. A minute. Give it a little bit of a push. Don't buckle the pages, just. And having the towel underneath I know I'm making full contact between the inner and the outer spine, even though that pole brad is in there. So then, close it up. I do have a slightly less aggressive clamp around here somewhere. This will get a clamp and almost like a bookend. I'm going to put something heavy now on either side and stand it up somewhere for a couple of hours or maybe even overnight for that glue to cure completely before I do anything else. So once the spine is dry, I'll be back. Right, and I'm back. She set up overnight on wedged up against the sewing machine in a box on the spine. I try to leave that overnight because it's structural. It's part of the book. It's not just decorative. So she lays nice and flat, all stuck in. Now before I take all these clips off, I want to get this stuck down. Grab a wipe ready for the glue. And again, I'm going to use Beacon for that. So let's turn her around this way. Pull just those off. And get some glue on the edges. Come on, cooperate with me, please, Beacon. I haven't thought of a proper villain name for this yet. I'm not going right to the edge because I know some is going to smush out, and this stuff isn't very pleasant to have oozing out. To try to clean up because it's so sticky. Get some down the middle here. And again, this is just, the flap is just decorative, really. There we go. Get a wipe on that. Stay. And just smooth it down. It's funny, this glue is quite cold to the touch as well, which I found very strange. So, that's a little persuasion. My bone folder. None is oozing out yet. Good. It's a bit of a involved process to construct a cover like this, but I always like the finished look. It looks very finished and purposeful, you know. Give that a bit of a smush. Lovely. Now, come on. There we go. And get the other side laid down. And plus, if any of your spine peeks through, you've still got that sort of pattern as well. So let's get this side. And then pull her back up, I think. And have to think, what is it I'm going to do next? She needs a dangle. She needs a closure. I'm only just sitting down tonight to even think about it, really. It's been a long week in work. There we go. We had this beautiful sunshine yesterday, and I'm back to being cold again today. So, there you go. There's no such thing as the wrong weather here in Wales, just the wrong clothes. It's guaranteed it will change. Being close to the sea, I suppose, it changes as well. Oh, come on. Why is this gooey? And I've looked and looked to see if there's like a UK version of this glue, but you can get Call-All, but it's not the same. That should be okay. It's only the flap. It's not, like I said, it's not structural. Get it down and give it a smush. Going right down. But this 3-in-1 Eminent Bonds fabric, I've used it on metal, I've used it on all sorts. In the beginning, when I first set out, I used a hot glue gun for everything, but as I said, I've learned from experience, hot glue is more of a temporary thing, isn't it? Same as double-sided tape. There we go. No, cap on the glue, Faith. There we go. And don't over-tighten Beacon. There we go. Now, where did I put those signatures? Take the clips off. And she is bound now. And without anything in any of the pockets, very, very skinny. Very, very super skinny with nothing in there. So let's have a go. I still need something for these pockets, but that'll come. So as I said, I've cut everything to size, and I've backed everything with paper, Some I've added a bit of polish to. Other things I haven't embellished yet. Perhaps that's the next video, is to go through and see what embellishments and things that I can add to some of these tags are quite plain, and they might need a bit of oomph. And there's tags and things in here that I've just cut to size that need eyelets and dangles and bits and bobs added to them. So get these added in. Side tucks, stacked ones, and some of these envelopes have writing paper in them, some of them don't. That one was in there, and the top, and so forth. So I'm just going to go through and see if I can remember where everything goes. That went in there. Yes, she goes in there. My camera, yes. So like that needs a, and because it's got that space at the top, there's room for me to add a bit of something there. It's not going to interfere with the page. Shouldn't. So yeah, I just need to go through and fill her up now. So that's the first signature stuffed, and I'll do the next two now. Perhaps I'll speed this bit up a little bit, or no, just leave it run. We'll see. I'll see if I can be a bit quicker about it. If I missed something, yes, that goes in there. That flips out. A card under there. That's that toilet paper pressed, embossed. That vignette goes in from the side, and I did add a bit of lace to that one. That's just a plain card. She goes in. Tall one there, needs something on the top, and that was, no, that was in there. Airmail envelope. That's a bit of stationery. Goes in there. So some of these pages still have plenty of room to work on, but I try to leave some with journals that I'm planning on selling on, so that there's that didn't go in there. Where does that go? I knew this was going to happen on camera, but I'm going to think, oh, where's that going? I've missed a tuck somewhere. There, no, no. Now that was definitely in there. Where did that go? Ah, on the back. And then this was in that top. And because of the way I've layered the pages, it's because of the way I've layered the pages, once you take everything out, you're like, well, where did it all live? It's on the back. No, that one was back there. So I did have all these in there. It's fine. There we go. And last one is, yeah. And there. Handmade paper stuffed in there. And tag, airmail. That one in the back is a big tuck in the back of that one. That folds back over. And again, I'm out of order again. What have I done? It's fine. I'll work it out later. Because I don't think I had multiple things in the pockets. That was yesterday. I unstuffed everything, so I got no chance of remembering. But, pardon me, one will pop up here. And there. That one was deeper. That one was shorter because of the way the napkins got stitched together. And there's a big one in the back. There you go. And there. And that was Rachel's freebie, I think, the other week. And there's another tall one I've missed somewhere. Alright, so that goes in here. Old stationery. Right, I'm properly confused now. What have I done? There's a tall one. That's a pocket. So that one is this one. And I know I didn't knock the pile over. That one went in there. Because it sticks up, it needs something on the top. And no, I've definitely missed some gaps somewhere. I've missed two somewhere. That one goes in here. Gorgeous. Something goes in that back pocket. I'm pretty sure it was that one. So that tall one and that tall one went somewhere. That one was in there. What gaps have I missed? That's that top one. That's the flat one. That had one. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. How have I ended up with two extras? No idea. Can they live anywhere? Pop two in that one. Yeah, stick two in that one. That one can go away. Right. Mystery fixed. So I need something in that back one and something in that one. I need to go back through at some stage and choose these tags, and especially the ones that are like the ones that are going to be visible when you turn the page over. Get some embellishments and things on top of those. And that will help balance the book and see if there's any more embellishments to add to the pages. Lots of these I'm likely to leave blank, especially because I'm probably selling the book on. So there's more space to play and embellish. That's where one's missing. That flap there. I'm not really fussed on that, but I'm going to leave it in there for now. Actually, where's that doubled up one? That one I doubled up. Not there, not there, there. Yes. That's better. So, yeah, just go back and find bits that need lace or trim or odds and sods added to it. And just hope that whoever does get it works out which way all the flippy flaps work. Because I've even got myself muddled up a couple of times. So no, happy days. There is Penelope stuffed. And she's a good size at the moment. But the majority of that bulk is in the center of the book. So if you look here, if I give her a squish, she's got lots of room at the top. She's got lots of room at the bottom. And not so much in the middle. So, because of the way I layered all those, there is room for her to have much more embellishments added to her. So closure needs to get sorted out. Note to the bookmakers, ex-libris card, a dangle needs to be done, and a little bit of attention paid to those tags and journaling cards. But no, that's it for me for now. And thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you like what you see here. If you do, give me a thumbs up. Perhaps leave a comment, like, subscribe. Hope everyone's well. Take care, and we'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.